Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Megaroar31. A couple things to start off with. First of all, thank you so much for all the views last week. Over 3,000 views on all the videos I put out, and the Cup one almost had 1,500. So thank you for that. And I decided going forward, anytime a video goes over 1,000, I will throw out, come back and check the videos at the end of the weekend on our channel. And if you see any video that went over 1,000, I'll throw a coupon on there for a free day pass for the next weekend. So and that can become helpful for some of the times where you have like the qualifying and practice and everything's so close together, and there's not enough time to make a video before the race starts. So then you can get in the Discord and you can see my sheet and my plays and everything. And if any video ever hits 2K, then I'll give the whole weekend away for free. So that's the deal. So just always, after you watch these videos and after the race, just check back, see how the videos did. And, it's a good reason to subscribe to our channel also. And look for the coupons in the comments if we hit 1K or 2K. So I appreciate that. Also, we're have spring training baseball. McKinley and I and Matt Noah, and McKinley's been driving a lot of it because I've been focused on NASCAR this weekend, and some of the plays just been outstanding. So many home runs he nailed in the core of this um, early slate today. It's been very profitable in the first 3 days, and it's absolutely free till March 1st. All you have to do is this one's not our website. I don't know why it's not populating, but if you go to our Twitter/X FSI page and search back a couple days through our posts, there's a link on there to sign up for spring training baseball for free. So that's what I got for you there. So appreciate it. Appreciate all the viewership. We're slowly climbing there. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. We want to try to get to 5K by the end of the year. We're almost at 4,700, which is awesome. So I really appreciate that too. So there's a couple races today. Uh nailed the core great. The prime plays were, speaking of prime, my prime plays are now going to be sponsored by Prime Hydration Drink. Just kidding. One of the viewers saw it and saw the bottle and thought that it looked exactly like the same color scheme as my primes. This came out, I think, like last year or the year before. I've been doing this 5 years, so my prime plays like so they aren't going to come after me. I might come after them. Just kidding. But anyways, one viewer thought that'd be funny if I threw that in there. But anyway, speaking of the prime plays for truck were spot on, and I had 5 out of 6, and then I had Rhodes who hit the wall or blew a tire late, and that just tanked my lineup. So did not do good at trucks. And then Xfinity, I did well, and then people started running out of gas. So the truck race, like they're usually marred by caution, and like Xfinity didn't have too many cautions, and it turned into follow the leader, and it was kind of boring. And Jesse Love was out there, and it was just astounding because on the video I said, I don't trust it. I don't know if he can, like, if he's ready for this. And he was. And the only thing that slowed him down was running out of gas. So I fear that might turn into a fuel mileage race, and that you might have and it's a little bit different here because in Xfinity, you have guys that don't normally run and aren't running for the title, so they can be on a different fuel. And that's what happened in the truck series. Kyle Busch ended up winning it. And it's because he could get better track position because he doesn't have to worry about stage points. And we don't have to worry about stage points. You can pit early and stay out after the caution and advance your position. It's hard to pass on this track. Even though it goes fast and there's the draft there, it's not one where you see a lot of like back and forth passing like you do in Talladega and Daytona. This is a 1.5 mile track. It's not a 2.5 mile track. And you do see some wrecks here, but they're more like couple cars. And besides, you usually don't see like a big, huge wreck. And we didn't see that. We just saw like onesies, twosies here, there. A lot of debris because the people like hit the walls and parts fell off and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be a 1 or 2 dominator race. I think it's going to be a lot of fouled leader. I think that they're going to race for stage points, and that's going to be the only action. It's going to be pretty boring in between. And then towards the end, they're going to be talking about fuel mileage, and maybe we see some chaos. Maybe we see some good racing. But so they didn't have practice. That doesn't scare me as much as Cup. These cars should be okay, but some of them might have had to adjust the setups. And if you look at the colors here, this isn't like, even though it's a super speedway and it races like this, it's not like Talladega and Daytona. You're not going to see like teams team up as much, but you might see some manufacturers work together with draft. And the Fords look really good. And if you see, like, you see a lot of blue up there towards the top. You see Chevys mixed in. You see Toyotas kind of in the middle towards the back, but they had really good speed in drafting in Daytona. The other thing I want to call out is I do put where it says Daytona, that's their Daytona finish and their start. Some of the viewers found that helpful when I called out kind of like what they did in Daytona, the first race of the year for trucks and Xfinity. So I threw up on the screen here so you don't need to listen to it. You can actually look at it. And because there was no practice here, it was a short week, and they don't really practice usually on super speedways because you can just pretty much tear up a bunch of cars. It's pretty much running wide open, and you don't really need to practice as much as you do. We don't know how the setups are with these cars, and if they're all mechanically sound. They should be. These Cup teams are much better funded and have more resources than they do in like some of the lower end Xfinity and truck ones. So everybody should be good. But I think I want to look at Daytona kind of as a little bit of a guide there. So we'll start at the top here, and you'll see a new category. And this new category is GDOM. And I'll break this out from time to time. A lot of people ask me, I know I don't identify people that I think could be dominators in the race when I do these videos. So I'm going to try that this year with the GDOM category. A GDOM, and maybe you'll see a CDOM coming up too, is someone that I think could be a dominator in the race, but not necessarily a cash play. They're more of a GPP. Unless this is the one dominator that you're going to pick to fill in the rest of your cash lineup. So if it's a one dom or two dom race, you probably want to pick like one of the two doms, go with the three primes, because these primes aren't, I mean, when I get to them, like one of them could become a dominator. Uh, they just had a slow qualifying lap, but there'll be times. So we're gonna like take people from the back. And if you look at most of the optimal lineups, they've had like one or two people in the top 15 in the last, they've raced here 4 times since they repaved it in the um optimal lineups, I believe. So we'll start with Mike McDowell. Could he get out there and dominate this race? Yes, I think he'll be low owned. Uh, he was doing good in Daytona and got taken out, ended up 36th. He's good at these types of tracks, better at Talladega and Daytona than I think here. I think he's a GPP play. I don't know if I'm going to have a ton of exposure to him, but I think you can keep him in consideration, because if he does get out there and nobody can pass him, he could lead a bunch of laps. And if it goes green and caution free, it could be the whole first stage. That's entirely possible here. But I think Joey Logano, who's the aggressive one, is going to get out. And, again, we have the same two pole sitters. They're just kind of flipped from what you had at Daytona. So obviously these two Fords are good at these tracks, are going to go out there qualifying. They're usually pretty fast. I think Logano gets ahead of him. And I think that, he's someone that I can definitely consider as a dominator. I think he's going to be pretty highly owned. So I don't mind if you throw Joey Logano in as your primary dominator. It makes a lot of sense. Kyle Busch could be a dark horse here. He did run the truck race, but again, he had the advantage of not having to run on the same um, pit strategy as everybody else. So I think that really helped there. But he has looked good early in the season. He has looked good at these races. Vegas is coming up. So I think that he's somebody you can consider as a dominator also. But I like the Fords a little bit better. Todd Gillian, I hope I said that right. Um, he's a fade for me. He started 31st and got an accident. I think he's going to be okay in this car, and he's one that we like as like a safe cash plug and play, usually in the 5K range. That usually starts towards the back of the field and does enough to make value. He's not going to crush it usually, but he's not going to kill your lineup either. But I think he's way too far forward here. So I don't see him finishing in the top five. Maybe in the top 15 if he has a good day, but too risky. I'm out. Kyle Larson, he could also dominate here. Again, I like the Fords better in this race than the Chevys, especially because they have more to work with. But would it surprise me if Byron and Elliott can get up there and work with him and all the Hendrick cars work together? I mean, it might be a good GPP stack. So I think you consider him as Dominator. Blaney, I like him as Dominator. I think he'll be highly owned. I know he had a bad Daytona. He was like the chalk play, and then he got a wreck and really only got 2 place differential points when we thought that, he could actually just crush it and, be up there. And there were times where he was up there leading. So, he was just had so many points. It was absolutely crazy, and not as crazy as if you the Xfinity race at Daytona where Parker Klingerman was like scored at like 168th place or something, and he was just like had like hundreds of points or something for place differential throughout the whole race, and it was just made the whole experience horrible because you couldn't judge where your team was, because if you had him you knew it was going to fall, and if you didn't have him you knew that you're going to catch up, but you didn't know by how much. So but anyways, so we thought Blaney's gonna be a smash play at Daytona. I think he could be good here. I think he could go up and work with some of the Fords. And could he go out there and lead this race and dominate it? Absolutely. So I think out of the top 10 here, my favorite two would be Logano and Blaney, followed by Larson, Bush, and McDowell. So if I had to rank the five, that's what I got. Busher could play along up here. I don't see him dominating. Low owned GPP. Cindric, I think he could partner with his Penske teammates and be along for the ride, but I don't see him being the aggressive one going out and dominating the race. So GPP. Briscoe, I think also could tag along in this Ford mix here, but I don't see him dominating. I see him having a solid race, but he started 20th and ended 10. Can he finish in the top 10? Absolutely, but I think it's a GPP. Austin Dillon, we talked about it. Chalk and Dillon in the back of the field. We felt good about Blaney, and we knew he could crash, but Austin Dillon, you figured that something would potentially could go wrong. I think he's below on. I think he's a fade here. I don't think he's going very far for with this race. Byron, I think he could definitely dom here. Looked really good at Daytona. Won the race. Put himself in position to do that after starting 18th. I think he can get up there and potentially dominate this race. Maybe his pit crew is pretty efficient. His crew chief is pretty good with fuel mileage and different pit strategies. So I think he's one that could work. Martin Truex Jr., I think, is a GPP here. I don't really see him dominating this race. I do see him maybe tagging along with some other Toyotas that might get up there, but I don't think that he's going to be the lead dog. So GPP for me. If you want to do a Gibbs stack, I get it and put him in there, but I like Hamlin as a dominator more than Truex, and I think he'll be highly owned, even though he finished 19th at Daytona and really just had a pedestrian day. I think he'll bounce back here, and I think he's definitely got top 10 upside, possibly even top five, possibly could even dominate this race a little bit. So I still like the Penske cars better, but I think, and Hamlin and Byron are definitely in the equation. I kind of like them better with the place differential and potential to dominate over the likes of Larson and Bush up there and McDowell. Josh Berry had a decent first run here. He actually, or in Daytona, he was finished 25th, started 30th, nothing really to write home about. It's an awesome car, really good team. I think he can work well with the other Fords here. I don't think I see him dominating just quite yet. He just probably needs a year to get like used to this team and being up in Cup full time. He did race a lot last year in Chase Elliott's car. He did race in Atlanta, so he does have some experience here, but I just don't think it's his time yet. I'm a big fan of him from Xfinity, not because he has the same last name as me, nothing to do with that. I just think that he's got some talent. I think this Ford team, even though it's a Ford, is a very well put together team with a lot of great resources, and I think that he's going to succeed. But we'll just have to. I think it's going to be a little bit time. Noah Grayson did really well. Started 38th and ended up ninth. He's got a lot of talent also. He dominated his final year in Xfinity in 22, but 23 came up the cup, and it just the legacy team wasn't the right team for him. And the Stuart Haas team, I think, is a good one for him. And again, I think he'll work well with the Fords here. I think he might be a tad too aggressive still, and that's good and bad. So he's a really good boom and bust play. I don't see him dominating. I do see him having upside. Uh, and I like the price point, but I just can't play him with cash. Harrison Burton, you guys say I hate on him. I don't hate him personally. I just don't think he is ready to be a cup driver, and I have no idea why Wood Brothers signed him for another year if they want to win. He showed his cards in Daytona by wrecking early and taking other people out. He's after starting 12th, 39th. I do not see him doing well in this race, and if he does and he beats me, I don't care. I will take it. Um, 5,400, I'm not playing him starting 16th. If he was starting 26th or 36th, I would definitely consider him in a GPP, but I cannot play him this far forward until he shows me that he can drive the car straight and not run into things. Bowman finished second at Daytona, had a strong run. He was up there. He's Mr. Vanilla. Like he's just kind of there and just like comes out of nowhere. It's like, the Seidler in Seinfeld, if you're old enough to remember that. Like you just don't hear him coming, and then all of a sudden he's like standing right next to you. You want to put like Tic Tacs in his pocket so you can hear him approaching. And that's how Bowman is. He's just like the silent assassin. He just kind of does his job, blue collar, has a lot of floor usually, and puts himself in contention to win races. So is he a cash play? Yes. Do I see him getting up there and dominating? No. But can he get 10 place differential points and finish like seventh? Absolutely. So at 8,200, I like it. Give me him as a cash option. Not gonna say lock it in, but I think he's a solid one. And I do think, if you want to go um, play the Hendricks cars, if you can find like two value plays to go with it that you like, I think that's a great GPP stack. And it'll be a little bit contrarian too because of the ownership. I think people gravitate more towards the Fords and Toyotas. Bubba Wallace, I think, is usually really good at super speedways. Started 24th in Daytona, finished fifth. I think here that he'll definitely be able to move up, probably work with the other Toyotas, maybe some of the Fords. And I don't think he leads the race, but I think he's in GPG consideration. Tyler Reddick, he is one that really likes to run a high groove up against the wall. Very good at that. But this whole race is a high groove, so that really doesn't give him an advantage here. Because if everybody's running up there, then you really need somebody that can create another groove to try to pass. And I don't see that happening. I think that he just falls in place with the rest of them. I mean, he is aggressive. I think if he hooks up with the other Fords, if you want to build kind of like a mix of Joe Gibbs and 2311 cars, I think that's perfectly fine in a GPP. But I'll go over Reddick. Sorry, that hangnail was driving me nuts. Priest, GPP here. He's I don't know. He's not he's kind of like vanilla also, but he's not like a silent assassin vanilla um like Bowman is. I just see Priest as someone that goes out and usually can have a solid run. Started 25th, ended up 23rd at Daytona, took care of the car. I think he'll do the same thing here. He might start 20th and finish 20th. And is that enough for you? Maybe. Like I think he's a GPP. I think he's got some floor because he's a relatively safe play. I don't think he's got a ton of ceiling, but if you need like somebody in this price range as a plug-in, I think he's safer than Gregson, or I'm trying to see who else is or John Herman Nemechek. I think I'd gravitate towards him if you're looking for um a safe final plug-in in your cash game. Ross Chastain, I'm going to give him the GDOM here. He has shown dominance in this race. He wants to get up there. He wants to get up front. If he can, I just don't know if he can cut through and pass all these people to get there. But he seems to be willing to take chances and to take risks and to try to pick off cars one by one, and not be content just to ride around and just wait for others to make moves through the end of the race. So, and I could see him getting up there and or off some pit strategy or something and actually leading the race. So I think that he could be a dominator. It's more of a like this is more of a GPP. Like all these dominators are pretty much GPP, but I think the safest like cash ones would probably be Logano, Blaney, Byron, maybe Hamlin. But if you're building a GPP with dominators, I think Chastain. And what you might want to do is I gave you 8 here, so you can do different combinations in a 20 max, like 2x2, and then just put the prime plays and whatever final like cash value play works for you. So I think that's definitely how I'm going to approach like 20 maxes. Is just mix in all those DOMs and take the primes, and then whatever cash play fill in guy is the final guy works for me. Christopher Bell, I don't think he's going to get up there to dominate. I think that he had a really good run at Daytona, stayed in the top 5 most of the day, stayed out of trouble and everything. And I think he'll work his way up through the field and put himself in a position just to kind of chill. And if he's up there, I see him getting to the top 10. So I think he's got enough place differential potential there to be a cash play. Daniel Suarez, same thing. I like the price point here. Uh, Again, got a wreck in Daytona, but I've seen him do pretty well here. And between he and Chastain, like Trackhouse kind of took a step back last year after having an amazing 22 season. So they really need to set the tone early that they just weren't like a one-hit wonder and are just kind of fading away. So, if they want to continue to move this company and this team forward, I think they really need to perform well. And I think this is a great track for Suarez as well as Chastain to thrive on. Keselowski, usually does well in these races, and I think last year he finished both races in the top 10. I love the fact that he's got a lot of place differential potential here, especially getting up into the top 10 could give him anywhere from 15 to 20 DK points. So I am kind of excited about that. So and like pair him with the Fords too. It makes good. So I don't think he's going to get a chance to get up and dominate. I think there's so many cars that you'd have to pass for that to happen. But I think when his place differential, he makes an outstanding. And I definitely think that he can finish in the top 10. So really like him in cash, and I'll try to see if I can get him into my cash build. But if I can't, then definitely will try to have some exposure to him in some of my GPP lines. Ty Gibbs, I have a GPP here, but I do think that with the Toyotas, that he's definitely in play here. Definitely not going to dominate, I don't believe, but he has had a chance to run this. He did really well. I think he was in the top 10 in the spring race. I think he wrecked in the fall race here, and I think that one of them was rain shortened. So, but anyways, started the 15th, finished 17th. Nothing to write home about in Daytona, but he did his job. He didn't wreck, and I think if he can get it up into the top 15, 10 place differential points at least here at 7,800. I like that. He's borderline cash, but I still think I need to see him prove himself a little bit to give him that floor, but I think he's got tremendous upside, so definitely like him as a GPP. Hemrick, a cash play here, started 37th, worked up to 16th. I think just being full time here, he wasn't Cup before. He fell down to Xfinity, he was solid there. And it wasn't elite, but he was always solid. 5,500. I think he should be fine and at least be able to finish where he starts, if not progress a little bit. So um good cash play there. Stenhouse, I think you can play in cash also. He's aggressive also. Same thing as Chastain. I don't see him being a dominator, but I see him working his way up in the field and trying to pass cars instead of just riding around. So I don't think he's going to lose the draft, or I don't think that he's really gotten to be a better driver and not as volatile when we used to call him Wrecky Spinhouse. So I think I can trust him in cash for this. Chase Elliott, prime play, could be the highest owned driver. Uh, Chase didn't get a chance to race here last spring. He was okay in the fall, but the fall of 22, he just absolutely dominated this race. It's his home track. There's just so many things. With place differential, he's one that I think could go up there and actually get up there and figure out how to lead this race and just stay out there. He knows this track even after the repave, he's been successful here. Just so many things. He's just waiting for like a comeback, bounce back year after having such a strong rookie year and then just kind of fading after that. The skiing injury last year. I just think that he's really, ready to come back and have a solid season. Daytona, he was okay. I think he was caught up in the wreck late. So I really like him here, and I think a lot of people are going to play him. Saint Smith, I think, safe for cash. Hung around in the top 15 all Daytona, kept the car clean, was really good at these types of races in the truck series. I know this is a completely different vehicle that he's driving here, but I think he's should be able to get up in the top 25, and he shouldn't kill you if he wrecks early. Josh Williams, I don't understand like why he's in this car. If you watch the Xfinity videos, I'm a huge Josh Williams fan. He is like just a solid cash floor play. He's kind of like a Bowman or a Priest for me that I like to play. And kind of like Gillian was last year. This is like a good. I think he'll be low owned, but I think that seeing him like start 28th, and actually he did race in this. Um, he wasn't in this car, and it was AJ Allmendinger. So never mind that for Daytona. But anyways, Josh Williams is usually pretty solid. Let's see, where did he finish today in Xfinity? Maybe not so well. 37th. So I think somebody took him out. But anyways, I think he's fine here. I don't understand like why Austin Hill didn't get in this ride here, or why Beard didn't try to. Austin Hill has been so dominant at these tracks and so dominant at Atlanta that I just wish he was in a cup car, like or that Childress would like just throw out. Well, Beard is almost like an extension of Childress anyway. So like I just wish that he was able to come in and race up here against these guys. I just think maybe next year or maybe in the fall. Just please, please, please. I want to see Austin Hill in this race. He has just been so dominant. Justin Haley, he was super dominant here in Xfinity. He's actually, I think, was in one of the optimal lineups for for a cup in one of the four races that was here after the repave. I really like him. I think that even though he's in a Rick Ware car, I believe that they are have an alliance with one of the other, maybe it's Stuart Haas, preparing this car. So it's not really um, a true Rick Ware car. And I think that he's going to be a strong play here. Just knows the track really well, does really well, can pass people. Um, and it stays out of trouble. So 5,300, I think he can definitely maybe get up to the top 20. So really like him there. Corey LaJoy, prime play. Uh, Daytona finished fourth, solid day. He's just been so good on super speedways, and he was leading one of these races. I think it was in 22, and we all thought that this was going to, or maybe it was last year, one of the races. Like we all thought that this was going to be the breakthrough for the Spire team, and we're cheering him on, and it was just a feel good story, like how much he was dominating the race, and then he had a tire issue, and faded back. He still had a solid day, but just goes to show that he's someone that you can take seriously here. And I just think that I just love the fact that he has place differential, and that I think he'll be able to move up and have a solid day. And at that price point, it's just amazing. So, going to be one of my prime plays. Kaz Growler, he finished 38 in Daytona, started 26. Somebody else took him out, so it wasn't his fault. Uh, so I'm not going to fault him there. I think you can play him in cash also. I don't like him as much as I like Haley or Williams or LaJoy down here, but I think he's still in play. John Hunter Nemechek, he should probably have medium ownership. And I know he won last year here in Xfinity in one of the races. Maybe it was a truck race. I can't remember, but I know he had a win last year. He just again, he just wrecks a lot. He had an issue, made contact with Jeremy Clement and Jed Burton in the Xfinity race today, and ended up finishing 4 laps down in 32nd position after starting third. So he just again, he's not Harrison Burton esque, but he's someone that I think has the talent, and he got sent back down, and he's working his way back up. And he's on a decent team here with this legacy, a Toyota Racing development. But I really don't think he's got the floor. He always has upside, so that's why I think he's decent in GPP. But I just don't feel he's got the floor to put him as cash play, even starting this far back. Carson Hocevar is going to be chalk, I think, also. I know that he started ninth and finished at 40th, but he is a decent driver. He's got a lot of talent, and I think he's a little bit has more upside than some of the other ones down here. So, and he's aggressive, definitely, and that's what you want. So I like him in cash. BJ McLeod, what is going on? He looked really good in the duels and just um missed the cut. He did decent at Daytona in Xfinity. He started 21st and finished 18th in Xfinity this week. I think that we might be seeing BJ McLeod not be like the worst driver not named Harrison Burton in the Cup Series. And it's not because he's a bad driver, but just his like team and resources just haven't been there. I think that's more of the case, but I think that he might start to have some floor here. So 4,800, I think I like him in cash also. And then I think the second highest owned player is going to be Eric Jones, who almost spun out on his qualifying lap, and that's why he ended up starting last down here. But he's been good at these races and been up there. And I think in 22, he actually was like leading the race at some point. So he's going to be my third prime play, and I think he's going to be very chalky along with Elliott. And so that's that's how I'm going to build. I'm going to throw in Elliott, LaJoy, and Jones, and then I'm going to take two of the G DOMs that I like and then fill in with another cash play. And that's how I'm going to make my main cash lineup with my favorite two G DOMs and my favorite cash value. And then in some of the other like 20 maxes, I'm just going to rotate those G DOMs with that core and then whatever cash play is left to fill in. And then finally, I'm in my GPP, I'm going to take some shots on some of these other upside GPP guys that I think have a lot of our boom and bust, and we'll see what happens. So hopefully it's not a completely boring race. Like just the first 3 quarters of the Atlanta race were just kind of like a yawn, almost like taking an afternoon nap. And hopefully it doesn't turn into a fuel mileage race like it did, where like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 cars, where you're so excited, you're winning thousands of dollars. You got to make just 2 more laps, and then the final lap, all of these cars just start slowing down and they're down on the apron, and nothing's going to happen. And all these random people pass them, and you end up having like Chase Briscoe win the race, or something like that. Some of these middle of the road driver just out of nowhere because they just had the best gas mileage because they had a flat tire or something in the course of the race and had to go change it. So they were a little bit behind and couldn't get the track position back. And then all of a sudden they win the race because everybody else is dropping like flies in front of them. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, appreciate you watching. If you want more information, I've said DFS, like I said, go to the description of the video, and there's the link to our website so you can see all the packages we have and sign up for any you want to. If you're not part of our Discord, then please check your email back, because if you sign up and you don't link to our Discord right away, sometimes the process doesn't work, then I'll send you an email with a link that will work, and then once you get you in, we'll get you all set up. So had a lot of people join this weekend for the free NASCAR continuation of the beginning of the season to celebrate our 1,000 views last week. And so just keep that in mind, that that's still open for free, and also spring training baseball. So thanks for watching. As always, if you have questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up, Megaro31 on X, formerly Twitter. And if these videos help you, again, like, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends. So I will see you next week. I believe it's Las Vegas that we have. So I haven't looked at the schedule to see if there's like qualifying or like if there's windows, whatever. But if there's a chance to make a video, I will do it. If not, then you can always get in our Discord, and my sheet and all my information, my core plays, and coaching help is always there. And even if it's not free, it's only $5 a week. It's not that expensive. So, not trying to dominate the world with selling content. We just want to help you, but we need some money to keep the lights on. So appreciate that. So good luck in your contest. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I will see you next time.